All the class 10 students of St. Michael's Academy, welcome to another online physical science class. Today I am continuing current electricity. So let's start. So first I am starting with demonstrations of series and parallel connections. So series and parallel electrical current is the flow of charged particles. The flow of charges will be constant in current electricity. Electric current flows from higher electric potential to lower electric potential. For the current to flow, it requires a circuit, which is closed loop of a conducting material. The circuit consists of wires which are connected end to end and the electrons flow in same direction. So a circuit has conductors, that is wire, switch, load and a power source. The circuit starts and stops at the same point. Usually copper wires are used as conductors without insulation. It is through the conductor the current flows. A switch is used to open or close the circuit. When the switch is closed, current flows through the circuit, and when the switch is open, it breaks the circuit and no current flows through it. A cell can be the power source. If we put more than one cell, it becomes a battery. The load, which is also known as resistor, uses the electrical energy and converts it into some other form of energy. It can be a lighter bulb or anything else. If there is no load in the circuit, then it will be a short circuit. Now see the diagram. A complete circuit is there, which consists of battery, copper wire and an incandescent bulb. Now when current is passing through this circuit, bulb is glowing. Now move to the next slide. Now series and parallel connections. There are mainly two types of circuits, series and parallel. Both series and parallel circuits consist of more than one load. Resistors can be connected both in series, parallel or a combination of both. In series circuit, electrons travel only in one path. Here the current will be the same which passes through each resistor. The voltage across resistor is a series connection will be different. The voltage across resistor of a series connection will be different. That means voltage is different, but current will be same. In series connection, if one resistor is broken or any fault occurs, the entire circuit is turned off. Series circuits do not overheat easily. The design of series circuit is simple compared to parallel circuits. Some Christmas tree lights can be in series circuits. If one bulb goes off, the entire string goes out. So this is the disadvantage of series circuit actually. The fuse or the breakers will be connected in series to protect the whole wiring from overcurrent. It can be used as a voltage divider. Batteries in a remote are connected in series. That means a remote control that you use generally in your house for controlling your television or anything else. That is actually the batteries inbuilt there, or the batteries within that particular remote is actually connected through series connection. Now see the series circuit diagram. Here battery is there, copper wire is there, but two incandescent bulbs are present over there, which are connected through a series combination. Now Now, in parallel circuit, electrons travel through many branches in it. In this case, the voltage remains the same across each resistors in the circuit. Here, the current in the circuit is divided among each branches and finally recombines when the branches meet at a common point. So, it is completely opposite of series combination. Here, I is being divided, but voltage is same. A parallel circuit can be formed in many ways, which means resistors can be arranged in different forms. It can be used as a current divider. In most cases, the circuits are connected in parallel. This is because if one resistor is broken or damaged, it won't turn off the entire system. So this is the main advantage of parallel connection. But due to this effect, it is difficult to detect the failure if anything goes wrong in the circuit, and thus it can be dangerous at certain times. So this is the disadvantage, one of the disadvantage of this connection. It is easy to connect or disconnect a new resistor or other component without affecting the other elements in the parallel circuit. But it uses a lot of wires and hence becomes complex. Mostly in buildings and houses, we use parallel connection. So now, to show the role of resistance in controlling current in an electrical circuit, we use generally dry cell, that is battery, key and torch bulbs. Key means switch. So, in the three circuits, the change in the brightness of light of the bulbs with changes in the resistance of the circuit. A torch bulb is actually a high resistance coil of wire. A bulb glows more brightly when larger current passes through it. When current I is passed through the bulb, it glows brightly in the first figure. That means in a normal connection. So, in two bulbs, if two bulbs are connected in series, that means in second diagram, that is resistance of the circuit becomes double and the current through each bulb becomes I by 2 and each bulb glows less brightly. So, in series combination, the bulb glows less brightly. Now, in this, that means in parallel connection, two bulbs are connected in parallel. Here I have shown three bulbs. So, here three bulbs are connected in parallel. So, total resistance of the circuit would be half of the first case and thus main current would be 2I. Means current will be double in case of parallel combination, whereas resistance will be half. Equivalent resistance will be half. So this current is equally divided through each bulb and so each bulb glows again as brightly as in the first case. So that means in parallel combination, bulb glows more brighter than a series combination or connection. Now, heating effect of electric current. When electric current is supplied to a purely resistive conductor, the energy of electric current is dissipated entirely in the form of heat and as a result, resistor gets heated. That means the total energy of electric current will be completely converted into heat energy. The heating of resistor because of dissipation of electrical energy is commonly known as heating effect of electric current. Now see the diagram. Bulb is glowing due to this electric current flow through a circuit. So when electric current is passed through an electric bulb or electric heater, heat is produced in them. Thus, electrical energy is converted into heat energy. Now, derivation of the formula. The resistance R of the conductor. A higher resistance produces more heat. The time t for which current flows. The longer the time, the larger the amount of heat produced. The amount of current I. The higher the current, the larger the amount of heat generated. To calculate the heat produced in a conductor, consider current I is flowing through a conductor AB of resistance R for time t. Also consider that the potential difference applied across its two ends is V. See the diagram. AB is a conductor, a circuit is there where one battery is also connected with the circuit. Potential difference is equal to V and resistance is equal to R. And time taken for this electric current, that is small t. Now, total amount of work done in moving a charge Q, small q, from point A to B is given by W is equal to Q into V. Because potential difference is equal to work by charge. So that's why it is coming. Work is equal to charge into potential difference. Now we know that charge is equal to current into time also. So Q is equal to I into T. V is equal to I into R from Ohm's law. So putting the values of Q and V, we get W is equal to I into T into I into R. That means I square RT. W is equal to I square RT. I'm just simply putting the value of Q and V. Now, assuming that all the work done is converted into heat, energy, we can replace symbol of work done with that of heat produced. That means here W is equal to H. So H is equal to I square RT. Now, H is equal to I square RT joule, or H is equal to, you can write V square T by R. From where it is coming? We are putting the value of I from Ohm's law. Joule, and H is equal to I square RT by J calorie. If we want to convert this into CGS system calorie, so that we can say H is equal to I square RT by J calorie. J for joule, capital J. And H is equal to V square T by JR calorie. In these expressions, when V is in volt, I is in ampere, R in ohm, and T in second, then heat produced H is in joule. Now, Joule's law. Joule's law in electricity, mathematical description of the rate at which resistance in a circuit converts electric energy into heat energy. The English physicist James Prescott Joule discovered in 1840 that the amount of heat per second that develops in a wire carrying a current is proportional to the electrical resistance of the wire and the square of the current. He determined that the heat evolved per second is equivalent to the electric power absorbed or the power loss. So based on the amount of heat produced due to electric current as found in the previous slide, Joule stated three laws. So first law of Joule is the amount of heat produced in a conductor in a given interval of time is proportional to the square of the current passed. So that you can say mathematical expression H varies as I square when R and T are constant. Now second law of Joule, the amount of heat produced in a conductor by a given current in a given time is proportional to the resistance of the conductor. That is, H varies as R when I and T are constant. And number 3, The amount of heat produced in a given conductor by a given current is proportional to the time for which the current passes. That is, H varies as T when I and R are constant. Now combining from joint variation we will get H varies as I square RT. So that H is equal to K into I square RT, because due to variation sign we have to take an equal to sign. That means for this equal to sign we have to take a constant. That constant is K. So K is a constant. H is equal to 1 by J I square RT, where K is equal to 1 by J for Joule. So H is equal to 1 by 4.2, because this is a value. You know that it's a value of J. So H is equal to 1 by 4.2 I square RT. So that you can say ultimately H is equal to 0.24 I square RT, and that is only the combined Joule's law. Now I am describing an electric iron. An electric iron has a handle and a flat triangle shaped surface. Electricity makes the flat surface hot. A hot iron is rubbed on clothes to make them flat and smooth. They are named clothes irons because they used to be made out of the metal iron. Cloth is made from lots of small strings. So mechanism of this electric iron. The electric irons that we use to press the creases out of our garments contain a thermostat. That means within the structure of the iron there is a thermostat which ensures that the iron doesn't get too hot if it's kept switched on and left unattended for a long period of time. Let's take a look at exactly how the mechanism works. An electric iron relies on a basic combination of heat and pressure to remove creases from clothes. When an electric current is passed through a coil or any other heating element present in the iron, it gets very hot. This heat is then transferred to the base plate, that is the smooth flat surface that you place against clothes while ironing, through conduction, which elegantly and precisely irons your clothes. However, if the iron is continuously drawing electricity from the power supply, the heating element continues getting hotter. This causes a lot of energy wastage, as an iron consumes a lot of electricity even in a few minutes, ruins your clothes, and in the worst cases causes nasty and potentially dangerous accidents. See the diagram? The external structure of an electric iron is there and the internal structure, that is mechanism, is there. In the mechanism there is a bilateral strips are there. Actually when it is heated it will be bended. In thermal expansion chapter already you have read this. So in an electric iron, a thin but long wire of nichrome is kept, generally coiled and sandwiched between two sheets of mica. This is called heating element of the iron. The element is kept inside two iron plates and the heating element is kept insulated from the external body of the iron. On passing current through the element, it gets heated and the iron in turn becomes hot. Resistivity and melting point of nichrome is very high, so it is used in an electric iron. Now, the last example of today's electric fuse. The fuses work on the principle of the heating effect of the current. Fuse is always connected in series with the electrical circuit. When the excessive current or heat is generated due to heavy current flows in the circuit, the fuse melts down due to the low melting point of the element and it opens the circuit. So what is the working principle of electric fuse? A fuse is a short piece of wire made up of a material of high resistivity and of low melting point, so that it may easily melt due to overheating due to the excessive flow of electric current. If high current flows through the circuit, it melts and breaks when temperature gets higher than its melting point. So what is the use of the fuse? And electronics and electrical engineering. A fuse is an electrical safety device that operates to provide overcurrent protection of an electrical circuit. So in electronics and electrical engineering, this is the definition of a fuse. Its essential component is a metal wire or strip that melts when too much current flows through it, thereby stopping or interrupting the current. Now see, in the diagram, external structure of fuses are there. Obviously, hope so you have seen this in your house. With this, the mechanism or internal structure also I have given. So from this, we can say that fuse is a safety device connected in series with an electric circuit. The fuse wire is made of a material having very low melting point. Usually a fuse wire is made of copper or tin lead alloy. When large current passes through a circuit and also through the fuse wire, a large amount of heat is produced. As a result, a large amount of heat produced in the fuse wire melts it and circuit is broken. So the flow of current through the circuit stops and saves the circuit from burning. Thank you, students. For any doubts or queries, please email me at sudeshna1.sma@outlook.com. Please take this chapter seriously and read it thoroughly and relate it to my slides and go through the slides properly and send me your doubts or any queries. I want to answer your doubts or queries.